Yeah. Yeah. The Philadelphia 76ers on Christmas Day pull off the upset. Absolutely unbelievable turn of events. I mean, it just doesn't even make any sense at this point. You know, somebody before this game said to me, knowing the Sixers, they'll win this game. It is just the most bipolar roller coaster of a team I have ever witnessed, year in and year out. But there are some things to take away from this game, and I am going to give you all of my thoughts on it. And if you would like to give your thoughts on it also, the Discord link is... Oh, I didn't pin it to the top of the chat. Hold up. Let me pin that to the top of the chat quick. I felt like I was forgetting something, man. The Discord link is... did I pin it at the top of the chat? I don't know. Somebody post the Discord link in the YouTube stream for me, please. Super chat from Philip. Sixers win. Merry Christmas. Love from Germany. Shout out to Germany. Thank you for the super chat. Merry Christmas to you all. Do me a favor one time before we get into it. Hit the like button. Give me 1,000 likes on this stream just for the fact that we are up here on Christmas Day. And listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We are live on YouTube. If you're listening on a podcast platform, join us on YouTube sometime. We're live after every single 76ers game. We're live for every Sixers game and after every Sixers game. Yes, that sounds insane, but that is why we call ourselves Sixers Sickos, because even on Christmas Day, you know, much like a gambling addict is in a casino on Christmas Day, we're watching a Sixers game and reacting to it on Christmas Day. All right, man, so listen, pull off an upset of the Boston Celtics, the 22-8 Boston Celtics, number 2 seed in the East behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, 118-114. On the back of one Tyrese Maxey. Now, I saw great things from a lot of players in this game. Keep in mind, the Celtics were playing without Drew Holiday, but the 76ers were playing without Andre Drummond. Without, of course, Jared McCain is out for the season with the torn meniscus. And, you know, we got Nick Nurse as a coach who won't go into any depth of the roster whatsoever. And we still survived it all. I think I want to start with Tyrese Maxey, man. You know, we got Joel Embiid back, even though he tripped in the pregame and almost ended his season with a warm-up shot. And he did twist his ankle at some point in this game. It's just Joel Embiid at this point. You know, he's going to get hurt. It's just, can he survive? Paul George was absolutely dreadful in the game. He is still doing his best Tobias Harris impersonation and is probably Daryl Morey's worst max contract signing of his 76ers tenure, which is saying a lot. But Tyrese Maxey saved us again. Tyrese Maxey, who led the charge against the San Antonio Spurs just a couple of days ago, especially down in the fourth quarter, finally got back in his groove after struggling at the beginning of the season. And he came out today, and I mean, Tyrese Maxey was on one. Tyrese Maxey was on one today. He was lights out. From three, getting to the rim, getting creative in the paint, finishing through contact, taking on great defenders like Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Didn't matter who it was. The Celtics had no answer for Tyrese Maxey. And actually, every time he went to the bench, we choked the lead away. Who would have thought we would be sitting here in 2024 saying, can we survive the Tyrese Maxey-less minutes? And I said this offseason, you know, with Joel Embiid hitting 30 years old and having another knee surgery, etc., I said, I don't think it would be too crazy for Tyrese Maxey to be the number one scoring option on this team this season. And people in the live stream in the summer when I said that told me I was crazy. You love Maxey. Maxey's great. Maxey has potential, all this, but it's Joel Embiid. It's an MVP level player. I said, yeah, but I'm seeing Joel Embiid reach the downside of his career. I'm seeing an ascension of Tyrese Maxey. It's not too crazy to think that Tyrese Maxey would end up being the number one option on this team. And you just witnessed it in real time. You witnessed some Joel Embiid ups and downs, but you witnessed the speed of the Boston Celtics, the three-point shooting rate of the Boston Celtics, and you witnessed, I think, Nick Nurse having a little bit of more smarts than Doc Rivers and saying, we can't dump the ball to Joel Embiid the whole game. We can't trade twos for threes. If we want to keep up with the Boston Celtics, we got to run this game through Tyrese Maxey. And that is exactly what happened. So shout out to Nick Nurse for that. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey, who's only getting better and better and better. And, you know, he had a lot of struggles early on in this season. And he has hit his stride today. He's hit his stride at this point in the season. You know, both times the 76ers went up plus 10, plus 15, 17 maybe at one point. Tyrese Maxey was leading the charge. He would go to the bench. The lead would dwindle away. He would come back out. They would get the lead again. And, you know, we survived it all through the fourth quarter. So Tyrese and Joel were both looking pretty good in the first half of this game. They both had 18 points in the first half. And then we came out the third quarter. And for some reason, with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid cooking in the first, and Tyrese looking like he was on pace for a 40-point game. In the third quarter, Nick Nurse said, you know what, let's get Paul George involved. And the Sixers came out with a lead in the third quarter, and they went 2 back-to-back scripted plays for Paul George. He chucked some contested bricks like he does and got beat on the other end, and Paul George was playing good defense most of this game. But that sequence to start the third quarter, the lead dwindled away. And it happened again in the fourth quarter. And I understand giving Tyrese breaks or whatever, but really that fourth quarter lineup of Tyrese Maxey, a 3-guard lineup too, it would be a death lineup without Tyrese Maxey out there, right? I believe it was Yabusele and Caleb Martin in that lineup also. The 76ers went up by 15 again. And Embiid and Paul George were on the bench. And we were saying what we knew wasn't going to happen. We were saying leave Embiid and Paul George on the bench. This lineup's killing Boston. You know, Joe Mazzulla had the strategy in that fourth quarter of let's double team Tyrese and make someone else beat us. And somebody else kept beating them. I mean, Caleb Martin had an absolutely ridiculous game. You know, so that lineup in the fourth with Maxey doing what he did and then Boston trying to force the ball out of his hands and Caleb Martin hitting threes and Yabusele making things happen and Kelly Oubre, everybody else stepped up and that lineup really put the game away and put the Sixers up by 15. Paul George and Joel Embiid came back in the game and the lead dwindled away again. Now, I don't want to say that the Sixers are better without Embiid and Paul George and any types of things like that. I'm just saying how the vibe of the game was going. But I knew, you know, it's not like you were going to leave Paul George and Joel Embiid on the bench realistically. So, you know, they came back in the game. Boston fought back. A couple of generous calls from the officials for Jason Tatum to have some you know, and one finishes there in the fourth quarter, and they started to hit some threes. We started to have some turnovers. It started to look like, oh my God, you know, we did it again. We were up by 15 and we blew a lead and blowing a lead to the New Orleans or Charlotte Hornets without LaMelo Ball. This is blowing a lead to the Boston Celtics. So I didn't really care. I just said, you know, if you hold on for a victory, then a win is a win. And that's how I felt about this game. There's times where I feel like a win is not a win against teams like the Hornets and the Pistons and whoever else the Sixers blew leads to this season. But they held on. There was definitely some highs and lows. They you know, when Joel Embiid came back in the fourth quarter, I knew what they were trying to do. Like Tyrese had it going. Boston started doubling, making somebody else beat you. And I even said before Joel and Paul George came back in, if Joel can come in this fourth and give us a little bit of a run, we can put this game away. Joel didn't necessarily do that at a level that would have put the game away, but he did, have a couple of physical plays and got to the free throw line in the fourth quarter and put some points on the board. He finished with 27 and 9. He had 18 in the first half. So Joel, struggled in the second half. Al Horford defense is always a kryptonite to Joel Embiid. But essentially, man, Tyrese Maxey played the game like a damn all-star. Tyrese Maxey led the way. There's no more, and I said this last year in the playoffs in that Knicks series, there's no more Tyrese Maxey wondering, am I the guy? Should I be the one taking these shots? There's no more Tyrese Maxey deferring to Joel Embiid. It really, in that second half, was the Tyrese Maxey show, and Joel Embiid was the sidekick. And if Joel Embiid is healthy, then that's a damn good combination. So I was happy with what the starters looked like, aside from Paul George. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. Yabusele had 10 off the bench in the first half. I thought that was massive. Yabusele using his size and physicality where he could, one-on-one against Jaylen Brown or Porzingis. At one point, he drove past and drew a foul on. So Yabusele is just a guy that he knows what he is. He knows what his strengths are. And he also, is a pretty damn good catch and shoot three-point shooter. So, he also hit a couple of threes in that lineup where they were doubling Tyrese and asking somebody else to make you pay. The Sixers bench right now is so shallow, it's unbelievable. I mean, this is so shallow. The first two players off the bench again are Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson. That depth is not going to win you a playoff series. But I was saying this game is going to tell me if I think the 76ers need to make a move at the trade deadline or not. If they came out here and got blown out and got ran off the floor by the Boston Celtics, and I would have said, listen, this team ain't doing anything, hang it up. But you get Joel Embiid, who at least in the first half was looking like the Joel Embiid of old. Even a play where he ran end to end, right? A play where Joel Embiid ran the floor from end to end and finished with an and one layup and started to do the Generation X celebration on the floor. So Joel's never going to be what he was in 2017, 18, 19, but he still has a lot left. And if you can just keep him healthy like this, he's still a 25, 30-point player. Let's call it what it is. And Tyrese Maxey leading the way, and Joel being there to rely on in crucial parts also is a good 1-2 punch. You're not going to survive with Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson being the first two off your bench. And Kyle Lowry had a pretty good game, by the way. Hit a really big three in the fourth quarter off of, I still think that lineup that Maxey was in where they were forcing him to get rid of the ball. Lowry had a pump fake and a dribble into an open three. I think my player of the game, outside of Tyrese Maxey, like if I could say like sneak player of the game or whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean? Like the honorable mention player of the game or something like that. Caleb Martin. My God. And they called him the Boston Strangler for what he did in Miami against Boston in the playoffs that helped Miami get to the NBA Finals that year. And so I'm hoping he's not just good against the Boston Celtics, but Caleb Martin was absolutely insane in this basketball game as a role player. And the 23 points is big enough. 7 for 9 from 3. Caleb Martin, who just dealt with a shoulder impingement since he joined the Sixers, because that's what happens when you put on a 76ers jersey. You got to know that. Players have to know that something bad is going to happen to you, There is a live and well curse that is not a conspiracy theory anymore. We know it's a curse. So when you come here, you put on a Sixers jersey, something bad is going to happen. Caleb Martin took it on the chin. It was a shoulder impingement. It was affecting his shot. There was a bad hitch in his three-point shot. He couldn't buy a bucket. He lost all of his confidence. He wouldn't shoot the ball for the whole beginning of the season, just passing up wide open shots, turning into pump fake PJ, etc. Today against the Boston Celtics, Caleb Martin rose from the dead. 7 for 9 from 3. And the shot still looks like it has, a weird hitch in it, but maybe that's just how he's always shot the ball. I don't really know. I mean, I've seen him play before. I don't remember the shot looking like that, but if it's going to go in, it's going to go in. It's not. It doesn't have much arc on the shot. It's kind of a line drive shot put. But 7 of 9 is massive. And it was in those lineups, again, where Tyrese Maxey was dominating. The Celtics had no answer for him. They were just double teaming him as soon as he crossed half court, making somebody else beat you. Caleb Martin was that guy. And on the other hand, on the other end of the floor is where Caleb Martin had maybe a bigger impact than his 23 points on the offensive side. Because Caleb Martin had Jason Tatum in absolute Rikers Island prison, especially in crunch time in this basketball game. And Jason Tatum. And he dropped 32. And his numbers are going to look good. 11 for 24 for 8 from 3, 15 rebounds. 32 and 15 for Jason Tatum looks good, right? So the stat watchers who don't really watch games are going to say, what are you talking about? He had 32 and 15. Very, very crucial points of this game. At least 3 or 4 or maybe 5 times, Caleb Martin either forced Jason Tatum to get rid of the ball or just absolutely clamped him after he dribbled out about 15 or 20 seconds of the shot clock and forced Boston into a tough situation, or forced him into a bad shot or forced him into a turnover. Caleb Martin's defense in this game was absolutely incredible. And I mean, when we signed him, I was this hype about him. I was so disappointed with what he looked like at the beginning of the season. I'm just hoping this game can put Caleb Martin into what I thought he was, which is, that 3-and-D dog of a player who's going to do things like this in big-time games. Hopefully, this got him his confidence back, and hopefully he can get back to, what Caleb Martin was known as, and what we thought we were getting when we signed him. So I just couldn't be happier about the Caleb Martin game today. I mean, nobody could have predicted that. If anybody bet on Caleb Martin having 20 plus in this game, I'm happy for you, and I hope your payout was great. Caleb Martin was incredible. Jaylen Brown had 23 and 7, and another player that really got clamped up in crucial situations, and a large part of the Sixers win in this game was Caleb Martin, and I'll shout out Kelly Oubre too for his defense. A large part of the Sixers win in this game was Kelly Oubre and Caleb Martin playing high level defense on the perimeter, and the 76ers are going to need that desperately. And honestly, man, I want to shout out Kyle Lowry and Reggie Jackson for surviving in those bench lineups, because those two guys are 40 years old and appear to be 4'11" on the NBA floor. For them to survive those lineups is big time too. We did get a little bit lucky with Peyton Pritchard being absolutely ice cold the entire game, to the point where he was almost airballing wide open threes. So that helped us in those bench lineups. But I couldn't be happier about what, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, Yabusele looked like in this game to deliver this victory. Now, let's move on to Podcast P. Because Paul George was so disgustingly bad in this game. Paul George was so embarrassingly, dreadfully atrocious in this basketball game. I have lost all faith that Paul George is going to contribute to the 76ers winning something. This was a game that showed me everything I needed to see from Paul George. Paul George hurt the 76ers in this game more than he helped. Seriously. And I said during the game, I'm going to make sure to shout out Paul George's defense, because he did play defense in this game. He's still a high-level defender. And so, yeah, he still helps on the defensive end. It's still good to have Paul George on the defensive end. But that's not a max contract guy. You don't pay a guy $50 million a year to play defense, because you guys tried to say the same thing to me about Ben Simmons for 5 years. Well, he's a great defender. Yeah, that ain't a max contract. That's an Alex Caruso. You know what I'm saying? You get an Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey straight up, not a max contract. Paul George on the offensive end was embarrassing. I mean, he is a podcaster at this point. Just retire. Just retire at this point, buddy. Because I don't know why you're out there doing this to yourself. I mean, the jump shot is bricks, but the problem is when Paul George's jump shot is bricks, he doesn't have anything else. You see what I'm saying? When his jump shot's falling, he'll drop 25 or 30. When his jump shot is not falling, he has nothing else. And when I see Paul George, 6'9", get in a one-on-one situation against Peyton Pritchard and settle for a one-footed fadeaway jumper, I know that not only is he cooked physically, he's cooked mentally. He had a couple drives into the lane in super slow motion where he got about a half of inch off the ground and got either blocked or threw it out of bounds or somehow found a way to kick it out to Yabusele or somebody else. But really, both times the 76ers choked the lead away in this game was when not only Paul George came back in the game, but Paul George was for some reason featured in the offense by Nick Nurse to start the third quarter. And then the very end of the third quarter, the death lineup, which shouldn't be a death lineup because you got a max contract player out there, but at this point it's a death lineup. Paul George, Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson, Kelly Oubre, and Caleb Martin, or whoever it was. We thought we were getting a number 3 guy. We thought we were getting a third all-star level player. This is a guy that you can't even really have out there without Joel Embiid or Tyrese Maxey. And what needs to happen from Paul George for me to believe otherwise is the question I'm asking at this point. And how in the hell is my blood pressure going to handle watching this guy play basketball for 4 years if he looks this bad right now? How is Paul George going to get better if he's this bad at 34 years old? Is he going to get better at 35, 36, 37? So the 76ers somehow get a win on the back of Tyrese Maxey, on the back of a good first half of Joel Embiid, on the back of some really damn good defense, on the back of Caleb Martin rising from the dead. But Paul George might be Daryl Morey's worst transaction of his career at this point. And that's saying a lot. Because if you could erase $50 million a year from Paul George and give this team some high-level role players and more depth, you would be much better off. This is what Daryl Morey said in the offseason. He said it right in a press conference. Somebody asked him that. Somebody said, isn't the league trending towards, 2-star players and some good depth and some good, high-level role players? And Daryl Morey said out of his own mouth, yeah, that's the trend lately. But over the course of history, the teams with the most all-stars win more. That's exactly what Daryl Morey said. It's how he's always managed a basketball team. He's always been a big-name guy. And he went after the Clippers, who were opening a new arena, had every reason in the world to want to bring back Paul George and sell tickets. Even they said no. And Daryl Morey said, I will give you $50+ million a year. And the first season of the Paul George experiment so far is terrible. I mean, if Paul George can get his head out of his ass, this team could be good. Because Maxey and Embiid stepped up The rest of the guys stepped up. Caleb Martin, Yabusele. We beat the Boston Celtics in Boston, even with you playing like that. And I don't need Paul George to be some kind of superstar. And I already accepted it's an overpay. I just feel the same way I've always felt about Tobias Harris. You know, now I'm here in this situation where you're getting paid max money and I'm just asking you to do role player things. But I got to accept it. So if Paul George can just shoot a little bit better than 4 for 15, you know, shoot a little bit better than 0 for 7 from 3, shoot a little bit better than 0%, Paul George, and maybe have a little bit more of a ball sack when you're backing down Peyton Pritchard and not settle for fadeaway one-footed jumpers like a scared 12-year-old. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking for Paul George. I don't think that's so much to ask. And pause on the over-descriptive metaphor. That's all I'm asking. You know, can Paul George give me an efficient offensive game while playing the defense that he played in this game? I don't know. Do you guys think he can? You let me know. But I'm ecstatic that the Sixers won this game. I think they did a lot of things that give me hope. I think it doesn't matter if I think they should be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. It's what do I think Daryl Morey's going to do? And with a performance like this, Daryl Morey's obviously feeling like, hey, you know, the team's looking up. And if I can make some more moves at the trade deadline, I can maybe have a championship contender here and also save my reputation. If the Sixers could get a little bit better than terrible Paul George and some guys off the bench, you know, at the trade deadline, then this could be a hell of a series if you end up playing Boston in the playoffs. But, you know, there's still some big ifs. Just Paul George pissing me off. I do know that much. But the Sixers win. And a lot of positives to take from this, man. Eric, thank you for the super chat. Caleb Martin is the modern-day Boston Strangler. Merry Christmas. Thank you for streaming on Christmas. Best Sixers content creator on YouTube. Hey! Thank you, man. Merry Christmas to you, too. Merry Christmas to everybody, man. I think I saw another super chat in here somewhere. Let me make sure I don't miss it, man. Let me make sure I don't miss it. We got RJ, a member of Sicko Nation for 9 months. I, as a member of Sicko Nation, will never trade Yabusele in any offers at all. But I think, RJ, man, and I love Yabusele. But if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, you know, the Sixers have no cap space. Yabusele is on a 1-year deal, a minimum that he signed, taking a buyout from the EuroLeague, which mathematically cost him almost $1 million out of his own pocket. He's going to get paid more than a vet minimum, and the 76ers aren't going to be able to pay him that. So if you don't trade him at the deadline, he's going to sign elsewhere in the offseason. So from a business, the 76ers are going to trade Gershon Yabusele at the trade deadline. I really think they are. Sixers fans are going to be upset about it because if they find a way to keep him, I love it. I would be shocked if Daryl Morey finds a way to keep Yabusele, because after taking a pay cut to leave the EuroLeague, he's betting on himself to ink himself a nice NBA contract. I don't think the Sixers can pay it. That's where I'm at with it. Riaz, Merry Christmas, Eastwood. Do you feel we need to make a trade for a shooter by the deadline to replace McCain? We need a floor spacer come playoff time. That would be a huge difference, dude. Wouldn't it be just so nice to have? Like, why do the basketball gods hate us this much, man? You really had to go take Jared McCain away from us, man? Basketball gods! Why? Man, he was so damn good, man. And I would feel so much better moving forward with Joel coming back and everybody getting the chemistry and Caleb Martin starting to play well, I would feel so much more confident about this team with Jared McCain coming off the bench. And the basketball gods took him away from us, man. It sucks. It sucks a lot. But, we got a bright future ahead of us with, Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain. And so, still nice to have him on the roster. But, yeah, it sucks. Do I think they trade for... they need a bucket off of the bench. The 76ers need an instant offense kind of guy off of the bench. It was Jared McCain, Cam Thomas would be very nice off of the bench for the 76ers, and the Brooklyn Nets are selling. And if the 76ers could land Cam Thomas to add to this rotation, that would be very nice, and that would give me a lot better feeling heading toward the trade deadline. I closer to the trade deadline, I'll be reacting to a lot of mock trades and coming up with some of my own. But just off the top of my head, man, I think a perfect 1-2, which is probably not possible, is Cam Thomas and I always forget his name out of New Orleans, man. Pelicans. Y'all will put it in the chat again, man. But the 3-and-D, the young 3-and-D fella over there in New Orleans, who has a 7-foot wingspan, 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. What's his name, bro? Somebody put it in the chat, man. Herb Jones. There we go, man. Thank you guys for that. I always forget his name for some reason. It's not a very rememberable name, I guess, or I don't have a good memory. But yeah, dude, a really good 1-2 punch, I think, at the trade deadline. If you're going to give up all the picks, Herb Jones and Cam Thomas would be a major addition to this team. But we'll see, man. Daryl Morey would have to part ways with that 2028 unprotected Clippers pick, especially if New Orleans is moving in a different direction. That's a very valuable pick to have because the Clippers are going to suck in 2028. Where is Malcolm Brogdon? I haven't seen a single clip of Malcolm Brogdon this season. And he has had quite an injury history. So that kind of makes me think Malcolm Brogdon has had some injury issues this season. Hard disagree. Herb Jones is a dope and easy name to remember. I don't know, man. Something about the name Herb that it just doesn't stick in my memory. Herb Jones just disappears in my memory, man. Hey, man, we got my guy Jarrett Newsom on the Discord, man. Let's talk to Jarrett Newsom in the Discord. Let's hear what Jarrett has to say about this. Let's see if he's a believer or not. And if anybody else wants to call the Discord, the link is... Wait, I don't think it's pinned at the top of the chat. Let me pin it to the top of the chat right now so I don't forget. Discord link. There it is. And now I got to go here and pin it. There we go. Now the Discord link. Why can't I pin the link? Pin message. Now the Discord link is pinned at the top of the chat. Say what's up to me in the Discord, man. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. Jarrett Newsom on the line. Yo, Jarrett. In the Discord.
What's up, man?
To everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. What's up, Jarrett, man? Can you turn me off in the background for me, please?
Yeah, I got you down, bro. But check this out. Hey.
Let's hear it.
This is possibly, I don't want to get too over anxious. This might be possibly a great win, of course it is, and a springboard for our season. Now, it's some difficult things that we need to discuss as far as, number one, and it's very obvious to you and me, because we watch the games, this is now Maxey's team.
Woo!
I don't care about anybody else. Put that ball in Maxey. The boy is a come through at the end. He's going to take that shot, and I'll ride and die, sink or swim with Maxey.
Shout Shout out to that, man. And I agree with that, man. And really, dude, every time they took the ball out of his hands in this game, they choked the lead away. I know he played 41 minutes. I kind of needed him to play 48. I needed him to not take a break at all. Man.
Yeah. I know at one point you were saying in the 8 minute, let him play all of it. I was almost sitting there, yeah, but he got to get a blow. His team, he's the quickest, fastest. You could tell who's putting the work in the gym. It's obvious. This is the Kobe Bryant of our generation. This dude outworks people.
From a working sense, it's a great comparison. I think from a being in the gym sense.
We ain't talking about him being the bean man. We just talking about his work ethic. We ain't talking about it. Let's not go that far.
No, I got you, man, and I agree with you, man. And I think, dude, like, we're always talking about, like, how can you play a faster game with Joel Embiid on the floor, and how can you, it always seems like the 76ers are trading twos for threes or playing from behind or whatever because they play a slow game when they're dumping the ball to Joel Embiid the whole game. It was nice. It was nice to see something different, right? It was nice to see the number one plan was Tyrese Maxey getting buckets, and Joel Embiid in this game was the second option. And maybe that's the direction they need to continue to go, because I didn't think they were going to survive the amount of threes that Boston Celtics shoot and how fast they play the game. And that's how they survived it.
You're right, bro. You're right. Pushing the tempo, man. And see, that's another point I'm bringing up too. Pushing the tempo. Jeff Downton is a better point guard than I'm sorry, man. I hate to disrespect the dude's game. It's over for him. Somebody need to tell him, hey, man, get a newspaper, watch the game with the fans. It's over. Come on, man. Bro, I done said it before. He's killing his legacy. He's killing my eyes, me watching him. That's making it even worse. Get this dude out of here.
Hey, he had a decent game. Lowry had a decent game today.
He had a decent game. And, I was like you. I was like, you mean to tell me you bringing Jackson and Lowry in at the same time?
That's what he did. It's what he did last game too. This is the second game in a row. Those are the first two guys off the bench, and that is a brutal lineup to bring in off the bench.
Well, he kept the starters in there except for, the point guards. But the thing is, I didn't see my man Counsell at all, but because Paul George was just stinking it up in this game.
Yeah,
everybody's entitled to a bad game. But Paul George, man, you're getting paid entire. He was playing good D, getting rebounds. But come on, I'm with you. How do you have a 6'1" point guard in behind you and you don't kill him?
I need this man.
You put him in his head in the back in the basket.
I need them to find a way to cancel that contract. I don't know if there's if there's some kind of fine print on page 102 or something. I need them to find a way to cancel that contract, because that's just I don't like it. Hey, Jarrett, man, I appreciate you, man. Merry Christmas. Thanks for calling, buddy. Good to hear from you.
Merry Christmas. You too, bro. Take care.
Shout out to my man Jarrett Newsom in the Discord, man. Long-time caller. What a guy. And Jarrett ain't doing the Kyle Lowry stuff, man. Even if Kyle Lowry has a good game. I mean, it's sad that 5 points in 21 minutes is a good game. But anything above a goose egg for 40-year-old Kyle Lowry is a good game. And he did hit a really big time 3-pointer in the fourth quarter in that lineup when they were forcing the ball out of Maxey's hands. But yeah, I like what I saw from this team. They need to do some things at the trade deadline. And sadly, for my blood pressure and my physical well-being, I might be back in, and this game might have convinced me that I believe in the 76ers again. And I can't believe I'm here. A decent in the Discord, man. What's going on?
What's going on?
What's up with you, man? How you doing?
I've been good. How did you enjoy your Christmas gift?
Oh, the Sixers beating the Celtics. Yes, absolutely. Loved it.
That was the best gift I could have got today.
Caleb Martin looking like he's not completely broken was a great Christmas gift, man.
And this is the intangibles I like about him. Not just the shooting, because I don't know what it is with the Celtics when he's in the lineup. They just leave him open, like it's the natural thing to do. Like they didn't get the memo from 2 years ago where he was cooking them in a Heat uniform. Like I don't understand that, but cool. If that's what you want to do.
Yeah, especially in that Maxey lineup in the third and the fourth. Yeah, they were just double teaming Maxey and leaving Caleb wide open. And he was just like, "All right, I'm gonna shoot another one."
Or he had a study. He could just sit there like, "Oh, so I'm this open. Cool. I'm just gonna study this." But what the intangibles that I loved about him in that game is his defense on Brown and Tatum.
Yeah,
that you won't see that in the stat sheet.
Right.
But he was making, even though Tatum had 32, he did not have fun scoring the basketball against this team. He had to work.
Yep.
For everything tonight. And there were some calls that we should have got against him with the shoves and pushes, because Tatum is notorious for that. And I can't stand when the refs just let him get away with
one I forgot about that. The one where he pushes off completely and they called a defensive foul somehow. That one was wild.
I was like, how did you even see that? Yeah, I like that one. The one he did on Paul George, and they just basically kept their hands in their pockets, like we didn't see anything. Like, okay, I see we're at Boston. I get it, but overall, tremendous performance from all around. Even though Kelly didn't have a great game, the hustle was still there. Like defensively, he was still locked in. Didn't fall. Didn't waver. Didn't say, you know what, I'm just going to be out of the game. Nah, I'm gonna keep playing defense. I'm gonna play on this end and make it difficult for everybody else.
Exactly, and he didn't do too much. You know, he didn't get in his own way or somebody else's way. He didn't put up any like ill-advised shots. He shot 2 threes. He was 0 for 2. He was 2 for 6 from the floor. Yeah, he didn't do this like sometimes Kelly Oubre gets in this like, hey, it's my turn, guys, and put, I didn't see him
going in hero mode.
Yeah, I didn't see him put up any crazy shots or anything. He just played played hard defense, rebounded the ball, and played hard, man. And him and Caleb Martin on the perimeter against the best 3-point shooting team in the league was massive.
Yeah, and look, they still hit their threes, but like at the same time, what happened was, we got them to fall in love with the three to the point where they stopped taking it to the rim, at least in the first half. The first half, they lived and died by that.
Well, this is how
shooting the three.
They live and die by the three the whole season. They're shooting 51 threes a game.
Yeah.
So you can look at it like, right, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's going to come back to haunt them because of their play style. This team that's built around them, I mean, they re-signed everyone back, but this team doesn't really like playing against someone that can actually match their pace.
Right.
And we got them to turn the ball over so many times for them trying to shoot the perimeter shot that it generated pace for the team. And I think we could have been up 20 if Nick Nurse actually had a set and played Ricky one time. We would have been up 20. It would have stayed up.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with Ricky. I heard Ricky had an injury, because he didn't play against the Spurs either. So maybe he's hurt. But I would love to see a Dembona and Ricky Council be added to this rotation for the size and physicality and athleticism.
And I agree with you. And like Eastwood, like he's not on the report. So if it's not on the report and doesn't say, hey, Ricky's hurt, he's not going to play, it would show up on the report. Am I correct?
Yeah, I didn't see him on the report either, man.
Exactly. He's in uniform, like ready to go.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. That's the only point I have with Nick Nurse.
The point that you said, I think you're right. The Boston Celtics are living and dying maybe too much by the 3-pointer. And the thing that makes me feel good too about this game is that they didn't even shoot a bad 3-point percentage. They shot 40% from 3. So it's not like people can say, oh, well, Boston shot 18% from 3. They just had an off night. They shot 40% from 3 and still lost, which tells me you can't live and die by the 3.
No, they had to take it to the rim in the second half against us to survive what we were doing, because otherwise they would have lost this game a lot worse. We had some knucklehead plays down the stretch that got them back into the game, but overall, I think Nick Nurse, that lineup was working, But there's a time to like bring Embiid back in. I think they left that lineup out there too long and allowed the Celtics to get some momentum after he brought Joel and them back in. I was like, man, I
Probably.
love this lineup, but you don't want to finish with it.
Right. Yeah,
It looked like
he
Nick was
waited
trying to finish with that lineup.
Yeah, he waited till about 4 minutes left to bring Embiid and them back in, and that's when they got the momentum.
Like, oh no, just bring the lineup back in. I understand y'all winning, but they're gonna make a run. It's the Celtics.
Hey man, I appreciate the call, bro. Great call as always.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Always.
All right, man. Talk to you again soon. Merry Christmas. Take it easy. AD sent in the Discord, man. And yeah, look, man, you know, I know people are going to say I'm overreacting to one game or something, but I watched the Boston Celtics lose to the Chicago Bulls the other night in the same fashion. And I just watched them lose to the 76ers today in the same fashion. And I'm sitting here saying the Boston Celtics are beatable. If you can defend the perimeter and make them do something else, if you can force them a line. Now, look, they shot 40% from three. They still got up 49 attempts. You know? They shoot 51 a game, so that's right around what they normally shoot. I just feel like in the second half, man, we really made them get off the line and they struggled. Jason Tatum was frustrated a lot in that second half. And again, the box score 32 and 15. It won't show exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about the perimeter defense that the Sixers played on these guys. You got to match their pace. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. They shot 49. The Sixers shot 40. That's a great number. If you want to survive, you got to match it. The 76ers shot 40 3-pointers at 42.5%. And if they can play at that pace, and if that means Tyrese Maxey's the number one and Joel Embiid's the sidekick, then so be it. That's where I'm at with it. Mark D. Drew didn't play. Pritchard was uncharacteristically cold. Pritchard was cold. Drew Holiday didn't play. And the Sixers were down Andre Drummond. And Jared McCain's out for the season. Paul George played like a jackass. So, you know, I don't think you can really use that excuse either, because basically the 76ers beat you with 5 players. They beat you with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Caleb Martin, Kelly Oubre, Gershon Yabusele. We beat you with 5 players. So I don't want to hear this person didn't play, that person didn't play. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we got Pal in the Discord. Pal has been waiting on the Discord. Call in, man. What's going on with you?
Hey, DJ. First off, Merry Christmas to you, your family, and all the sickos out there.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Sicko Nation, man. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to say that I know this might sound weird, but I think the best part about this win is that we didn't play our best, right? And I know it's a weird thing to say, but you know, like we could still get better. There's still a step for the Sixers to take, right? So like I just really think that you know, there's hope for the future. And can I just say that in that fourth quarter, I know Joel Embiid didn't like score hella points or whatever, but it's the fact that when Maxey was getting double teamed and everything, they put him in, and it's just his gravity that affected the game. And I think that's the most important thing about Joel Embiid. Yeah, he's a good basketball player. He's automatic from the free throw line and from the elbow, but it's just the gravity that just allows the other people to cook. And when there's like a stagnant point in like the fourth quarter or late in the game, you just stick him in there and he just keeps the defense honest. You know, like they can't double Maxey anymore. You know, they can't cheat off of like Caleb Martin to stop him from like shooting. And yeah, I just think that just the fact that Joel Embiid was in the game is game changing.
Yeah. Dude, I've been saying that for a lot of years. Like Joel Embiid could put up 0 shot attempts in a game and impact the game on both ends drastically. And yeah, man, like just taking the pressure off of Tyrese when Tyrese is having a game like that, and then you bring Joel back in, it's another guy they have to almost double team, you know? So even if he's not shooting the ball well, he's definitely going to draw a lot of attention. It makes it difficult, and the defense has to pick their poison, man. And another thing that I don't think I mentioned on this show is the defensive side of the ball for Joel Embiid. There's still nobody on this roster that can guard the rim besides Joel Embiid. And in the first half, I saw a couple of, he got called for a foul on Jaylen Brown that I thought was perfect defense too. I saw 3, 4, maybe 5 times him defend the rim perfectly. And so that makes me feel really good because with the knee surgery and everything, I thought maybe he was cooked on the defensive end and we were going to be bad defending the rim forever. His impact defensively is still massive at this point in his career. And yeah, his gravity on the offensive side is still huge at this point in his career. So, dude, if you can ride, the ascension of Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid can be 75% what he used to be, but still be that impactful, I think that's a good 1-2 punch.
Yep. And another thing about Joel Embiid, I know people are calling him soft or whatever for missing games, but if you noticed, Joel Embiid did something to his knee or ankle or whatever. He had a little limp going on. He shot his free throws and then he just kept playing. So at this point in his career with all his injuries, dude's pain tolerance has to be all the way up there. But yeah, just another thing.
Hey, man.
Yeah, that's all I have for you today.
I appreciate it, man. Great call. Great points made. Thank you for calling the show. Merry Christmas to you, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, pal, in the Discord. Man, we got some great callers on the Discord for this episode, man. Thank you guys for calling the show. Merry Christmas to everybody. Yeah, man, I agree with his point too, and I think it's a great point that we won this game and with 5 players. We won this game, and there's a lot of improvements that could be made. Paul George could be a lot better than he was. The Sixers don't have a bench at all right now. Without Andre Drummond, Ricky Council, Nick Nurse won't play a Dembona or Justin Edwards. Eric Gordon had oral surgery. I don't even know what that means. He got a wisdom teeth out or something. Not that I wanted to see Eric Gordon in there anyway. But this team could be improved at the trade deadline. And the fact that they were able to knock off the Boston Celtics with 5, if we combine Lowry and Jackson as one player and say 6 players, and, we'll call Paul George half a player because his defense was valuable, even though he was atrocious on the offensive end. If Paul George is a little bit better than terrible, and you get a little bit of something off the bench, I don't want to say they're contenders, man. I don't want to say it. I'm not going to say it yet. Not going to say it yet. But hey, thank you guys for hanging out with me, man. Merry Christmas. Another one in the books. The Sixers win. It's a Christmas miracle. I'll talk to you guys very soon, man. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.